Good morning. Previously, we learned about the basics of inductor-capacitor circuits, or LC circuits. Today, we are going to derive the equations for charge, current, and energy as functions of time in this LC circuit.
Flippin' physics.
To do that, let's start with an equation for the total potential energy in the circuit. Bo, please.
Okay. The total potential energy in the circuit equals the electric potential energy in the capacitor plus the magnetic potential energy in the inductor. The electric potential energy stored in the capacitor equals, well, we have three equations for that. Which one do you want me to use?
Please use charge squared divided by 2 times capacitance.
Sure, we can use that one. And the energy stored in an inductor equals 1/2 inductance times current squared.
In an inductor-capacitor circuit, charge and current are changing as functions of time, so let's use lowercase variables for Q and I. Typically, we use uppercase symbols for constants and lowercase symbols for variables. Also, we already discussed this, however, let's specifically identify that current through the inductor is at its maximum magnitude when charge of the capacitor equals 0, and charge of the capacitor is at its maximum when the current through the inductor is 0. Next, let's take the derivative of the total energy equation with respect to time. Bobby, what is the derivative of the total energy of the LC circuit with respect to time equal to?
The derivative of total energy with respect to time equals, well, this circuit is an ideal circuit with zero resistance, so zero energy is being dissipated from the circuit. That means the total energy in the circuit does not change over time, so the time rate of change in the circuit equals 0.
Correct. And just to make the next step clear, realize we can take the derivative of each energy expression independently because they are added together in our equation. Now, in order to take these derivatives, we need to use the chain rule twice. Because the variables for charge and current both change with respect to time, however, the variable t is not in either of those equations. In other words, the derivative with respect to time of charge squared divided by 2 times capacitance equals 2 times charge divided by 2 times capacitance, all times the derivative of charge with respect to time. And the derivative with respect to time of 1/2 inductance times current squared equals 2 times inductance times current divided by 2, all times the derivative of current with respect to time. All the 2's cancel out, and we know current equals the derivative of charge with respect to time. And the derivative of current with respect to time equals the second derivative of charge with respect to time. Therefore, we can substitute current and the second derivative of charge with respect to time into our equation.
Everybody brought current to the party.
Everybody brought mass.
Yeah, we can dance. If we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
Mr.
Oh, your friends don't dance. And if they don't dance, they're no friends of mine.
That was from Driving Dictionary.
We can move charge over capacitance to the other side and divide both sides by inductance. To get the second derivative of charge with respect to time equals the negative of the multiplicative inverse of inductance times capacitance, all times charge. Now, why would I arrange the equation this way?
You remember it's simple harmonic motion, right?
Yeah,
Oh, that's the equation definition for simple harmonic motion.
it is?
Yeah, the second derivative of a variable equals the negative of the square of angular frequency times the variable.
Oh, yeah. That means the square of angular frequency of an inductor-capacitor circuit equals the multiplicative inverse of inductance times capacitance. Or the angular frequency of an inductor-capacitor circuit equals the multiplicative inverse of the square root of inductance times capacitance.
Right. And angular frequency of simple harmonic motion equals 2 pi times frequency. And frequency equals the multiplicative inverse of period. So angular frequency equals 2 pi over period. That means period equals 2 pi over angular frequency, and the angular frequency of an LC circuit equals 2 pi over the multiplicative inverse of the square root of inductance times capacitance, or 2 pi times the square root of inductance times capacitance.
Well done, everybody. So far, we have proven an LC circuit is in simple harmonic motion, and we have derived equations for its angular frequency and period. Recall that an equation which fits the equation definition for simple harmonic motion Bobby mentioned is x as a function of time equals amplitude times the cosine of the quantity angular frequency times time plus phi, the phase constant. Billy, what is the equivalent equation for this inductor-capacitor circuit?
Well, instead of x in our simple harmonic motion equation, we have charge on the capacitor. So charge on the capacitor as a function of time equals amplitude. However, for charge, the amplitude equals the maximum charge. So maximum charge times cosine of the quantity angular frequency times time plus phase constant. However, angular frequency equals the multiplicative inverse of the square root of inductance times capacitance. And for this inductor capacitor circuit, the initial charge on the capacitor is at its maximum value, which means the phase constant has to be 0.
Thank you, Billy. Bo, please determine the current through the inductor as a function of time.
Sure. Current equals the derivative of charge with respect to time. So we just take the derivative with respect to time of the equation for charge on the capacitor Billy just derived. The derivative of that equation, we have to use the chain rule. So current through the inductor with respect to time equals the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So negative charge maximum times the sine of time over the square root of inductance times capacitance, all multiplied by the derivative with respect to time of time over the square root of inductance times capacitance. And the derivative with respect to time of time over the square root of inductance times capacitance is the multiplicative inverse of the square root of inductance times capacitance.
And the maximum value for sine of anything is 1. That means the maximum value for current through the inductor equals charge maximum over the square root of inductance times capacitance. So current through the inductor as a function of time equals the negative of maximum current times the sine of the quantity time over the square root of inductance times capacitance.
Valid point, Bobby. And we can also determine that equation for maximum current using the energy equations. The total energy in the LC circuit equals the energy in the capacitor plus the energy in the inductor. That equals charge squared over 2 times capacitance plus 1/2 inductance times current squared. When there is 0 energy in the inductor, all the energy is in the capacitor and the charge is at a maximum. And when there is 0 energy in the capacitor, all the energy is in the inductor and the current is at a maximum. 1/2 cancels out. We can solve for current maximum squared, and taking the square root gives us the same equation you just derived, Bobby. The maximum current through the inductor equals the maximum charge on the capacitor divided by the square root of inductance times capacitance.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, we can also determine equations for energy as functions of time in this inductor-capacitor circuit. Billy, please determine that for the capacitor, Bobby for the inductor, and Bo for the total LC circuit.
Absolutely. The energy stored in the electric field of the capacitor equals charge squared divided by 2 times capacitance. That means the energy stored in the electric field of the capacitor as a function of time equals the square of the quantity charge maximum times cosine of the quantity time divided by the square root of inductance times capacitance, all divided by 2 times capacitance. That means the energy stored in the electric field of the capacitor as a function of time equals charge maximum squared divided by 2 times capacitance times cosine squared of the quantity time divided by the square root of inductance times capacitance.
The energy stored in the magnetic field of an inductor equals 1/2 inductance times current squared. That means the energy in the inductor as a function of time equals 1/2 inductance times the square of the quantity negative charge maximum over the square root of inductance times capacitance, all times the sine of the quantity time over the square root of inductance times capacitance. That equals, well, -1 squared is just 1, so 1/2 inductance times charge maximum squared over inductance times capacitance all times sine squared of time over the square root of inductance times capacitance. Inductance cancels out, and we get that the energy stored in the magnetic field of the inductor as a function of time equals charge maximum squared over 2 times capacitance times sine squared of time over the square root of inductance times capacitance.
And Bo, the total energy in the LC circuit as a function of time, please?
Don't we just sum the two equations Billy and Bobby just derived?
Yes, but what can we do with that equation?
We can factor out maximum charge squared over 2 times capacitance. That's about it. Oh. No, I see it. So, okay. Cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals 1. So that whole bracketed expression equals 1. That means the total energy in the LC circuit as a function of time equals maximum charge squared over 2 times capacitance. And that actually does not change over time because the total energy in the LC circuit is constant because all the wires are ideal and have 0 resistance, so no energy is being dissipated in the circuit. We just proved that.
Exactly, Bo. Thanks. And thank you for learning with me today. I enjoyed learning with you.